What a great way to start the evening, huh? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سعادة السفير موسى بن حمدان الطائي سفير سلطنة عمان المعتمد لدى الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. أصحاب السعادة الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأهلا وسهلا بكم في ختام الملتقى الصحفي العماني الأمريكي. His Excellency Musa At-Tai, the Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman to the United States. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good evening to you all, and welcome to the closing of the Omani American Press Forum. Allow me, Dalia Isam, your host for the evening, on behalf of the Omani Journalists Association, to thank you all for being here with us for the past days. This event wouldn't have been such a success without your presence. We also would like to thank our partners, His Excellency Musa At-Tai, the Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman to the United States of America, the Omani Embassy in the United States, and the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center in Washington, D.C. for cooperating with us to organize this successful event. Since the dawn of history, art has always been a universal way to communicate between people from different places, even if we don't speak the same language. And this is why we have chosen to conclude our forum by an artistic evening. Now help me welcome Ms. Bushra Al-Wahabi for a narrative reading of Al-Bagh's novel.
مساء الخير. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bushra Khalfan. I am a novelist, a short writer, and sometimes I do claim that I am a poet as well. And today I will be reading a short passage from my first novel, Al-Bagh, which means in English, the garden. And to do so, I have to change my glasses. أخته تحاذيه في المشي وهو يصعد بناقته دروب الجبال الوعرة ثم يهبط بها إلى منحدرات الوديان. يجتازان السيوح، يقيلان أحيانا تحت شجر السمر المنتشر فيها، يقفان إذا ما صادفهما ماء ولو قليل، يشربان ويغتسلان ويتوضآن للصلاة، ثم يجلسان ليأكلا من القليل الذي أحضراه ثم يكملان طريقهما. وصلا مشارف مسقط فجر اليوم العاشر، تجاوزا لطية ودخلا من بوابة العشور عند السد. فتش العسكر راحلتهما فلم يجدوا ما يأخذوه ضريبة. دخل روي فوجداها أرض زراعة وخصب. أحب راشد زرعها وخضرتها لكنها ليست مقصده. سأل رجلا يمشي بين المزارع عن درب مسقط، فأشار الرجل إلى جهة الشمال الشرقي وشرح له أن الدرب سيأخذهما إلى بيت الفلج ثم إلى مطرح أولا ثم يعبران منها إلى مسقط. سارا باتجاه بيت الفلج وقلعته متشوقا لرؤية مطرح التي سمع عنها في مجالس الرجال، حيث يقال أن منها تحمل الخيول والتمر والليمون المجفف والغليون إلى البصرة والهند، مطرح التي تؤاخي مسقط في الفساد كما ورث عن أسلافه، ومن أراد دينه أن يطرح فليسكنن مسكدا أو مطرحا. هش أسلافه بشيء من الغضب وأكمل سيره، ولم يتوقف إلا لقضاء حاجة أو لاغتسال عند ماء أو لتناول الطعام تحت ظل غافة. مر بقلعة بيت الفلج لفته بناؤها وأعجب بأبراجها وتحصيناتها. رأى الجند في زيهم العسكري الذي لا يشبه ما يلبسه العسكر الوالي، وحراس البوابات قبعاتهم الحمراء المصنوعة من اللبد، وبناطيلهم القصيرة التي لا تكاد تغطي الركبة، والبنادق على أكتافهم، بنادقهم التي لا تشبه بندقيته البعشر التي في خرج راحلته. رأى المدافع تحرس أبراج القلعة وبوابتها، وسيارات اللاند روفر والبيدفورد تصطف على جانبيها. أعجبته وقفة الجنود الثابتة، لا يحرك ساكنهم شيء ولا يحني رؤوسهم عبور الظلال. أكملا طريقهما إلى مطرح أمامهما منبسط أجرد تحيط به الجبال، لم يصادف فيه خضرة أو نخلا إلا بعض شجيرات السمر المتفرقة وأكمات الأعشاب اليابسة. واصلا مشيهما حتى رأيا البحر، بدا لهما من البعيد كخيط من الفضة، ثم تحول تدريجيا إلى مرآة يتراقص زئبقها تحت الشمس. شكرا.
His sister walked beside him as he led his camel up the rugged mountain paths and down the slopes into the valleys. They crossed the flatlands, sometimes stopping to take a nap under the acacia tree found there. They stopped, if only briefly, whenever they have chanced upon water in order to drink, bathe, and perform the ritual ablutions for prayers. Then they would sit to eat from the little they have brought before continuing on their way. They reached the highest overlooking Muscat at dawn on the 10th day. They descended the slope and then passed through the tall gate near the dam. Soldiers searched the mount but did not find anything to take for taxes. They entered Roy and found it to be a land of fertile fields and agriculture. Rashid loved what grew there and how green it was, but it was not where they were going. Rashid asked a man walking between the fields about the way to Muscat. The man pointed to the northeast and explained that the road would take them to Beit al-Falaj and to Matra first. From there, they would cross over to Muscat. They traveled in the direction of Beit al-Falaj and its fortresses, longing to the sea Matra, which Rashid had heard about it in the Majlis sessions when the men gathered to talk. They said that Matra was where horses, dates, dried lemons, and tobacco departed from Basra and India. Matra, which has a bad reputation as Muscat, according to the proverb that came down from his forefathers, whoever wants to cast away his religion, let him dwell in Muscat or in Matra. Rashid drove his forefathers from his mind with a kind of anger and continued on his way. He stopped only for the necessary breaks to wash when they found water, to have some food in the shade of garf trees. They passed the citadel of Beit al-Falaj. The structure caught Rashid's eyes, and he admired its towers and fortifications. He saw the soldiers in the military uniform that did not resemble what the Wali soldiers or the gate guards would wear. Their red caps made of felt, their cropped pants that barely covered their knees, and rifles on the side bag on his mount, the common Lee-Enfield rifle that took its name from its 10-round magazine. He saw the cannons guarding the towers and gates of the citadel, their Land Rovers and the Bedford truck lined up beside them. The steady posture of the soldiers impressed him, so still that they did not move a muscle. A shadow passing by did not make them turn their heads. Rashid and Raya continued their way towards Matra. Before them was a bare expanse surrounded by mountains. They did not come across any greenery or palm trees there, only a few isolated acacia shrubs and some piles of dry grass. They kept riding until they saw the sea. It appeared to them from afar like a thread of silver that gradually turned into a mirror, glimmering like a quicksilver under the sun. Thank you.
And now from novels to poetry. We invite next the Omani poet Aisha As-Saifi to read for us some of her poems.
Good evening, everyone. I just arrived about 2 hours ago, so excuse my biological watch if things go out of context. First of all, I would like to thank the Omani Embassy for facilitating this event, obviously the Society of Omani Journalists, and of course the Center, the Sultan Qaboos Center. Thank you very much for hosting us today. أخشى على الموت لا أخشى على جسدي. أخشى على الموت لا أخشى على جسدي، ففيه أبصرت سر الخالق الصمد. أخشى على الموت لا أخشى على جسدي، ففيه أبصرت سر الخالق الصمد. آوي إلى الله يا ربي لتعصمني، لما تجليت ما بيني وبين غدي. مضيت في الخلوة الكبرى أهيل على سري مضامين إدراكي ومعتقدي. مشيت نحوك لا أمشي سوى لدمي، لما عجزت عن الإفراط في الجلد. آت إلى الله يا ربي فخذ بيدي. أكنت عند مقام الشيخ والولد، أمضي إلى البحر لا ماء ليكفيني نار الطريق التي ألقمتها كبدي. وأستعين على ذاتي بعلتها كي لا أرى أحدي آو إلى أحد. وأستعين على ذاتي بعلتها كي لا أرى أحدي آو إلى أحد. وقفت أنفض ريح الناس عن يدها، فاستاقط الماء مغشيا من الصهد. وقفت أنفض ريح الناس عن يدها، فاستاقط الماء مغشيا من الصهد. وقلت يا نار كوني برد حيرتنا على الطريق، وكوني يا عصاي يدي. فصار للماء صوت ما وعلمني ألا أكون وألفاني بلا عدد. فأومضت غرفة في البئر وانتفضت أن يا سماء اقلعي يا نارنا تقدي. فكدت أفنى فناء الزاهدين ولم أدرك سوى عندما أدركت بالسند. وعندها أبصرت عيناي طلعته نحوي، وباركني القيوم بالمدد. وقفت لا حول لي إلا لرؤية من سبحانه جل لم يولد ولم يلد. وقفت لا حول لي إلا لرؤية من سبحانه جل لم يولد ولم يلد. في حضرة الله أحلامي أكشفها كي أستعين على الفانين بالأبد. شكرا. الله يعينه. اختبار شطارة إله يعني. تحبينه ويحبك، يجرح عينيك، تجرح عيناك عينيه، يبسط كفيه في راحتيك فتبسط كفاك ماء الحياة على كفه. أنت صورته وهو صورتك الآن أكثر من أي وقت مضى. تشبهين تفاصيله، حزنه فرحه، نكد اليوم في صوته مرحه. تشبهين انبساط الأسارير في وجهه عندما يلمحك، الذي يجرح الورد في أوج خيباته يجرحك. تشبهين انعكاس السماء على وجنتيه، الغناء الذي يستريح خفيفا خفيفا على شفتيه، المزاج الصباحي، قهوته والأغاني، الذبول المسائي حين تلمان صمت عيونكما من ضجيج المكان، شكل وجهيكما عندما تنصتان طويلا طويلا إلى أغنية، كيف يرمش جفناكما في تمنيكما أمنية. يقول: البلاد التي وطئت بحرها قدماك بلادي. تقول: البلاد التي ضحكت في وجوه جميلاتها شفتاك بلادي. يقول: البلاد التي لم تقل مرحبا لعيونك ليست بلادا. تقول: البلاد التي لم تودع ذراعيك بالدمع ليست بلادا. تحبين أن تحملي كل شيء تحبينه في الطريق إليه، كصوتك، شامة زندك، رائحة العطر، ضحكة وجهك، شاي الكرك. وهو يسرق كل التفاصيل منك بحب إذا غادرك، وهو يتقن زرع الطفولة فيك، وتتقن عيناك غرس الرجولة فيه إذا قلت: ما أكثرك. تحبينه ويحبك، يعرف أنك لست له في مكان كهذا المكان، بأن عمان التي تشتهين لرعشته لن تكون عمان. لقد أجل الله بعثكما لزمان جدير بغير الزمان. لم تشأ هذه الأرض أن تصطفي ابن تلك الجبال لبنت السهول، أن تلك النجوم التي اتقدت بعد قبلته في جبينك موعودة بالأفول، وهو يعرف ذلك أكثر منك ولكنه لا يقول. وتعرف عيناك ما لم يقله، ويوجعه كل هذا الهواء الذي اكتظ في قلبه والذبول، ويوجعه الصمت، يوجعك اليتم، لكن يواسيك في حزنه أنه سوف ينجو كما كان بالأمس، أن سوف يعقب هذا الجفاف هطول، وسوف يعيد ابتكارك في جدبه، فالتراب الذي صد عن طينه الماء حنت عليه الفصول، وسوف يعيش ويعبر ليل الخسارات مهما يطول. لم يحفظ الكهان وجه وصيتي، لم يحفظ الكهان وجه وصيتي، لم يحفظوا صوتي ولا صلواتي، لم يحفظوا حزن النبي بدمعتي، أو لم يلموا من نواحي ذاتي. وقفوا على الطرقات، كان جنونهم قنديل أوجاعي ووجه جهاتي، ولأنهم موتى
أداروا ظهرهم للموت وانكفأوا على الرغبات، نادوا علي دعي لنا أمواتنا، فقبورهم بيت لكل حياتي، ودعي خيول الليل في أسوارنا كي نكتريها في الغياب الآتي. لمي لنا أعمار من أخذوا سدى من وقتنا، ضحك الحنين العاتي، فلممت منهم كل ذكرى دمعة وزرعتها في ضحكة المرآة. فإذا بهم صاروا كصمت كليمهم موتا بلا وجه ولا أصوات، يمشون دون وجوههم وحنينهم جزع الصدى يرتد في الفجوات. قطعوا رؤوسهم لكي لا يبصروا أوجاعهم تبكي على المرآة. قطعوا رؤوسهم لكي لا يبصروا أوجاعهم تبكي على المرآة. لم يدركوا أني بذرت قصائدي في وجههم فتفتحت آهاتي. الآن صار بكل أنة كاهن صوت الذي من حيرة السكرات، ولأن أحلامي اندلاق مخاوفي صاروا انسراب الليل في رعشاتي. لقد اكتروا ليلي فكان عليهم أن يحضنوا في غفوة أمواتي. الآن يصبح اللانهائي يندمي، فلقد جرت في نسلهم كلماتي، والآن يصبح موتهم أشهى، فقد رضعوا جلال الموت من أبياتي. الوحيدون لا يلتقون، الوحيدون لا يلتقون، سينشغلون بأقرب نوبة حزن تمر ويستسلمون لما كتبته الحياة الصغيرة، لما كتبته الحياة لهم، والمقادير والذكريات الصغيرة والآخرون. فلا هم وقوف على ضفة النهر أو عابرون، ولا زاهدون إذا هاجمتهم صفات الكلام، ولا مشتهون. الوحيدون كالماء والزيت يطفون فوق كآبتهم في دوائر صماء معزولة، ويغيبون ويرتفعون كما يرفع الماء أحزانه للسماء، فإن هطلت فوقهم غيمة يهطلون. وحيدون يقتربون، وحيدون يبتعدون ولا يلتقون. القصيدة الأخيرة، لا هذه فراحية وجاية على مناسبة يوم المرأة العالمي يعني. أنا لا أجد القصيدة، يبدو أنها اختفت. أيوة نحن نحب نكديين، نحب الحزن يعني، شعراء ترى. أنا تسمحوا لي لأنه نعم حصلت الحمد لله. أنا امرأة من نساء عمان، أنا امرأة خلطت باللبان، أنا امرأة نصفها في السماء ونصف ينام على غصن بان. أنا امرأة من شمال البلاد ولكن صوتي ظفار الجنوب. أمد جناحي لسهل أتينا فتمسك طرفي تلال الهبوب. أنا بنت نزوى التي أرضعتني شموخ العوابي
وصبر أدم، بقلبي صفاء شواطئ السويق، بعيني يغني شموخ العلم. أنا سدرة من بلاد عمان، ووجهي وجوه نساء عمان. ولو حفروا في دمي 1000 بئر لما بلغوا غير نفس المكان. وإن خيروني لما اخترت أرضا سوى ليصير ترابي عمان. ففي كل شبر بروحي صلاة تأم المصلين فيها عمان.
شكرا. شكرا. So even if you don't understand Arabic, you don't have to, to understand to know that this was beautiful. The way she delivered it, it was amazing. I think even if I didn't understand the words, I would be like, wow, this is amazing. So thank you so much. She loves Oman, and Omani women are beautiful. Like, this is the conclusion. All right. So now from Omani poetry to American poetry, and we have the poet with us, Sandra Beasley. Please welcome her.
I think we can all agree I should have been her opener. I am grateful to our hosts for this evening, and I would only add to the thanks already said tonight, my thanks to the people who so carefully have spent time with my poems to translate them and now to read them for the audience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I've lived in this area my whole life. I grew up in Northern Virginia. I've lived in DC now for 2 decades, and for much of that time I lived within walking distance of the zoo, the National Zoo. I mention that because once a week, twice a week, I would walk and see the peacocks in the open aviary, and that will help follow the poem that's about to come. Inventory. And just so you know, we're going to read a poem in American English and then hear the translation. Inventory. We gaze into the eyes. We forget the display is blind. Your fanned tail, really a cupped palm, gathering each hen's quiver to your ear. Your feathers, the green-blue glamours of reflective absence. No one ever praises the tail of the peacock, grin of quills that does the heavy lifting, or how you eat anything, from ants to styrofoam, from cheese to chicken. Road roamer, flower devourer, the one who will pick a fight with a goat. Preen all you want. What I love of you will be the bare undercarriage, the calamus. I am done with beauty. Only a blinking eye can measure the light.
نحدق في عينيك عينيك عينيك. نسينا أن من نعرض له أعمى. ذيلك المروحي حقا ككف مقعر يجمع بين الإناث لدرجة أنك تسمعها تهبس في أذنيك. ريشك الأخضر والأزرق كبريق انعكاس الغياب. لم يشد أحدا بذيل الطاووس أبدا بأنه ريشات تقوم برفع الأحمال الثقيلة، أو كيف أنك تأكل أي شيء من النمل إلى الستيروفوم ومن الجبن إلى الدجاج. متجول الطرقات، ملتهم الزهور، هذا الأحمق المستعد لافتعال شجار مع ماعز. اخفي كل ما تريد إخفاءه. ما أحبه فيك سيكون الهيكل السفلي العاري، قاعدة الريشة الخاوية، لأني انتهيت من وصف جمالك، لأن العين الوامضة هي وحدها من تقيس الضوء.
This is a poem about sometimes we lose our elders and we realize that the gifts that they gave us were not the expensive or important things that we knew to ask for. Sometimes the inheritance comes from knowing how they lived their lives and how they know we need to live our lives. Card table. A practical gift for moving to the city. Good cherry squared around black vinyl. 4 long legs that could fold within itself as a greyhound dog does, disappearing into a nap. Just big enough for a bridge match. If I'd had 4 people willing to kiss knees. Just big enough to let me call a corner of that S Street studio my breakfast nook, stacked with a week's worth of newspapers while I ate cereal cross-legged on my futon. Just big enough to pull out every few years and complain how small the table was, too crowded as a desk, too low for my chairs. In January, we stared at the strange space wedged between 2 kitchen doorways. Might as well try the card table. We stacked onions there, then potatoes, then tomatoes and peaches, and it became the chopping table, stirring table, serving table. Now, the first morning she is gone, I see a swipe in the vinyl where a hot dish burned through and realize I forgot to ask for anything. A ring, her sheet music. What I have is this reminder that she too was once a girl in a city and that she knew I'd always need a table.
طاولة الكوتشينة، هدية عملية للانتقال للمدينة. خشب الكرز العالي الجودة المتربع حول الفينيل الأسود، 4 أرجل طويلة تنثني داخل نفسها كما يفعل كلب السلوقي. تختفي أرجله حين قيلولته. هي فقط كبيرة بما يكفي للعب مباراة الجسر. إذا كان لدي 4 أشخاص على استعداد لتقبيل الركب. هي فقط كبيرة بما يكفي لأسمح لنفسي بأن أسمي زاوية في شقة الاستوديو على شارع اس ركن الإفطار الخاص بي، مكدسة بما يكفي لمدة أسبوع من الصحف. بينما كنت آكل رقائق الحبوب المحمصة واضعة رجل فوق أخرى على كنبتي السريرية. هي فقط كبيرة بما يكفي لفتحها كل بضع سنوات، ثم أتشكى من صغر حجم الطاولة المزدحمة جدا كأنها مكتب، والمنخفضة كي أضع كراسي تحتها. في يناير حدقنا في تلك المساحة الغريبة المحصورة بين بابين من أبواب المطبخ، وفضلنا أن نضع طاولة الكوتشينة هناك. قد كدسنا عليها البصل ثم البطاطس ثم الطماطم ثم الخوخ، فأصبحت طاولة للتقطيع وللتقليب وللتقديم. الآن وفي أول هذا الصباح، عندما سمعنا بخبر وفاة الجدة صاحبة الطاولة، ما أراه فقط هو أثر ذلك الحرق على الفينيل في مكان كان عليه طبق ساخن، وأدركت أنني نسيت طلب أي شيء منها، خاتم أو حتى ورقة نوتتها الموسيقية. إذن ما لدي هو هذه الذكرى فقط، وإنها أيضا كانت في يوم ما مجرد فتاة، وفي المدينة مثلي أنا، وأنها كانت تعلم بأنني سأحتاج دائما إلى طاولة.
In many of my years here, I have lived in apartments that are within view of Washington's monuments or its memorials, its political buildings, and that has often been a wonderful thing, and then at times it has been a troubling thing. And this is one of those times when seeing the Capitol building outside my window feels a little different. But Little Love Poem. The 6 a.m. sun considers everything, humming its way past the Capitol. I reheat yesterday's coffee, put lima beans into a pot, Ford hook, always Ford hook, drizzle of olive oil, pinch of salt, shake of chili flakes. The chicken broth comes to boil for a minute before I cover, simmer. Soon he'll wake, and I'll ask him to put a record on, something with no words, bowls, spoons, a single twist of pepper.
قصيدة حب قصيرة. شمس 6 صباحا تأخذ في اعتبارها كل شيء، ساطعة بشدة ليتهيأ لك كأنك تسمعها تترنم عند عبورها مبنى الحكومة. أعيد تسخين قهوة الأمس، أضع فول الليمة في قدر، ماركة فورد هوك، أستخدم دائما ماركة فورد هوك، رشة زيت زيتون، ثم رشة ملح، ثم رشة من رقائق الفلفل الحار، ثم مرق الدجاج حتى يغلي لمدة دقيقة قبل أن أغطي القدر لينضج على نار هادئة. قريبا سوف يستيقظ، وسأطلب منه تشغيل اسطوانة موسيقى. شيء بلا كلمات، أطباق وملاعق وبرمة واحدة من الفلفل.
This is my final poem. Again, I'm grateful for this time and this chance to spend time with this community. I'm mindful of a request last time to end on a happy poem. Poets never end on happy poems. It's very difficult. And this one is in fact called Grief Puppet. It's about the ways we come together to commemorate. grief puppet. In the nearby plaza, musicians would often gather. The eternal flame was fueled by propane tank. An old man sold chive dumplings from a rolling cart, while another grilled skewers of paprika beef. Male turtle doves would puff their breasts, wooing. And for a few coins, we each bought an hour with the grief puppet. It had 2 eyes, enough teeth, a black tangle of something like hair or fur, a flexible spine that ran the length of your arm. Flick your wrist, and at the end of long rods, it raised its hands as if conducting the weather. Tilt the other wrist, and it nodded. No effort was ever lost on its waiting face. It never needed a nap or was too hungry to think straight. You could have your conversation over and over past dusk when old men doused their charcoal, into rising day when they warmed their skillets. The puppet only asked what we could answer. Some towns had their wall, others their well. We never gave the stupid thing a name, nor asked the name of the woman who took our coins. But later, we could all remember that dank felt and how the last of grief's flock lifted from our chests.
دمية الحزن في الساحة المجاورة، حيث غالبا ما كان الموسيقيون يجتمعون. كان اللهب السرمدي يشتعل في غاز البروبان. رجل عجوز باع معجنات الثوم المعمر المبخرة من على عربة متدحرجة، بينما هناك عربة أخرى لبيع أسياخ اللحم البقري المشوي والمتبل بفلفل البابريكا. كانت هناك امرأة تتودد للعبور، وبقليل من العملات اشترى كل منا ساعة من الوقت للعب مع دمية الحزن. كان لديها عينان وأسنان كافية، وتشابك أسود لشيء كالشعر أو الفراء، وعمود فقري مرن يمتد بطول ذراعك. حرك معصمك. وفي نهاية القضبان الطويلة رفعت الدمية يديها كما لو كانت تعرض النشرة الجوية. قم بإمالة المعصم الآخر وأومق. لا جهد كان قد ضاع على وجهها المترقب. إنها أبداً لم تحتاج إلى قيلولة أو كانت جائعة جداً لكي لا تفكر جيداً. يمكنك أن تقوم بنفس المحادثة مراراً وتكراراً حتى لبعد الغسق، عندما كان كبار السن يخمدون الفحم، وحتى شروق الشمس عندما كانوا يسخنون مقاليهم. الدمية فقط كانت تسأل ما كان بإمكاننا أن نجيب عليه. كانت لبعض البلدات أسوار، والبعض الآخر كان لديها بئر. لم نطلق اسماً على هذا الشيء الغبي، ولم نسأل عن اسم الامرأة التي أخذت عملاتنا المعدنية، ولكن فيما بعد تذكرنا جميعاً ذلك الشعور بالبرد الرطب، وكيف قضت هذه الدمية على آخر قطيع الحزن من صدورنا. شنو أخليها؟
Thank you, Sandra. That was beautiful. I know I'm gonna have nightmares about the grief puppet. and thank you, Jinan, so much for translating. Doesn't Jinan has a beautiful voice? It's so calming. So now, as we all need some cheering up after this beautiful but sad poetry, we're gonna move on to music, and we have with us amazing superstars. Honestly, I am so proud that I had the chance to get to meet them and listen to their beautiful music. First, we'll start with Dr. Anne Rasmussen. She's a professor at William M. Mary and has been a research fellow at SQCC, and she's been to Oman 10 times for research teaching. She also plays a very Eastern instrument, which is Qanun. It doesn't get more Eastern than this. So, so this is honestly very impressive. And next we have the beautiful Tahira Jamal. She's an Omani first violinist at the Royal Omani First Band.
Good evening, everyone. The reason that Tahira and I can play together with no rehearsal at all is because we've known each other for about 10 years. And when I heard that it was Tahira who was coming, I decided I better drive up to Washington to make sure it was true. when I first came to Oman as the research fellow for the Markez Thaqafa Sultan Qaboos, Tahira was one of the first people to welcome me into her home. And she is from a family, it was for your sister's engagement party. And she is from a family of extraordinary musicians. So I have pictures of so many people playing, and your mother was there, and it was just a wonderful way for me to feel as though I was at home. And about 4 years later, I returned to Oman with my students who are in the Middle Eastern music ensemble that I direct. And we worked at the Jama'iyat Hawat al-Oud with Oman's finest musicians, and we put a program together and performed, and Tahira was right there with my violinists, teaching them and guiding them and making them feel at home in this beautiful, beautiful country. So it's a thrill to play again. So what we're going to do is give you a little bit of traditional muwasha, a traditional muwasha, and the text of muwashahat mix metaphors of nature, particularly plants and animals, with those of physical beauty, things like eyebrows, right? And there are particular references to the face and the eyes as a way to describe love and longing and, of course, separation. It can't be all happy, right? Love for the lover is often confounded with love for the divine. And this is a common trait in mysticism among many cultures. So, Tahira, would you just give us an idea of the lyrics? Yeah? Just could you just say the lyrics and I'll say the English? Yeah. Go for it. Yeah. No, I'll say the English. You just say the Arabic. That's all.
الكلمات هذا موشح أندلسي موشح أندلسي بالذي أسكر اسمه بالذي أسكر بالذي أسكر من عرف اللمى كل كأس تحتسيه وحبى والذي كحل جفنيه بما سجد السحر لدي واقترب والذي دموعي والذي دموعي عندما أردت من غير سبب. الكلمات مش واضحة. دعا على صدري يمناك فما أجدر لما بإطفاء اللهب. Sorry.
So for the language is already beautiful, but the translation just really sends me. The one who intoxicates by the scent of the dark lips, each cup she sips, and the pearl-like teeth. The one who has darkened your eyelids with kahol, magic bowed down toward him and got closer. And the one who made my tears flow like red dye when you shunned me for no reason. Put your right hand on my breast. It is more suitable than water to put out the flames.
Yeah.
Is that good? Is that a good tempo? Is that a good tempo?
Sorry, we have a technical problem.
You want to try this? Try this. You're gonna get another one. So should I do my American song now? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. We have an emergency plan. The idea of the event was to be able to bring an Omani poet and an American poet, an Omani novelist and an Omani writer and an American writer, and an Omani musician and an American musician. But you got cheated because you got an American musician that plays Arabic music. So it's kind of unfortunate, right? I thought particularly for the Omanis that I should be ready to play something American.
Yeah.
So I happen to be studying ballads, traditional American ballads with my students this month. These are songs that came from the British Isles, that came over in the 1600s, and many of them stayed in the mountains in Virginia and in North Carolina, in Appalachia. And they were forgotten in England. They were forgotten. But they were perpetuated in this very rural setting in the mountains. No electricity, no cars, no nothing, right? So there was no influence from the outside at all. And then they were rediscovered, these old ballads. So this ballad is called Jackaroe. Some of the ballads are a little bit, they're a little spicy, I guess. Some involve murder. This one only involves cross-dressing. The man, there's a wealthy merchant. He has a beautiful daughter. She has many sweethearts, but only one pleases her. He goes and sails away on a boat to join the army. And so much does she love him. Of course, she can't follow him. But she goes to a tailor and gets man's clothing and goes on the boat to follow him. And they question her. They say, your waist, it's slender. Your fingers, they are small. Your cheeks, they're too rosy to go to war. But she says, no, I will be fine. I am dressed in man's clothes. Anyway, it has a happy ending. All right? Let me see what I can do while talking about get to my. It's a short song. And you have to understand that I'm a campfire guitarist. This is like my seventh instrument. So I only play it when I go camping, but it is an American song, so from Virginia. There was a wealthy merchant in London, he did well. He had a beautiful daughter, you and Oh,
got us food there for a second. I was like, what's happy about that?
اي رجعت خلاص قريت عليها. اوكي. No, not sorry, sorry. Yeah. Fast listen. بعدين
بنكمل بعدين ما مشكلة. I know we all don't want this to end, and don't worry, they're gonna play some more in a minute. But now, based on popular demand, our beautiful poet Aisha As-Saifi is gonna say some quotes in English. Am I right?
So unfortunately, I don't have a translator today in attendance, so I have few pieces of my poetry translated by different translators around the world. So I'm gonna recite few of them. One of them is was published recently and translated in Sikha magazine by the translator Sedma Harland from the UK. Son of mountains, daughter of prairies. You fall in love with him and he you. He storms your eyes and yours his. The water of light breaks forth as he outstretched palms in your hands rest. You mirror his image and him yours. You imprint his likeness upon your soul. You resemble his sorrows, his joys, his broad genial smile upon seeing you, his daily cares, his sweet delights, and all his subtle, that's very difficult, combined. You break with each of his hopeless defeats and glow with the flush of his sun-kissed cheeks. You become the restful song on his lips, the coffee and songs of gentle morning bliss, and winding down after eventful evenings, with eyes seeking each other amid the noise. The likeness grows in your longing gazes. Be gilded the promise in sentimental songs. He says, whichever country your feet grace is my home. She says, whichever country your smile glints for its beauties is mine. He says, countries that do not welcome your eyes are not worthy of being countries. She says, countries that do not speak their bitter farewells to your embrace are not worthy. You meet him with everything that is dear to you, your voice, your smile, the beauty spot on your forearm, the scent of your fragrance, and the masala chai. When he goes away, he takes your breath away, and every little thing that you love or say. He awakens your childhood glee, and you, his splendid masculinity, as you wander, your ample abundance. You love him, and he you. He knows that his place holds your destiny, not to be his. That the Oman that you crave in the thrills of his ecstasy is not Oman, and that God, in his pre-written plan, might resurrect you both in another time other than this. Your wells and the earth do contrary run. The son of mountains is destined not to be for the prairie's daughter, that the stars that kindled by his kiss on your forehead are meant to die. He knows this more than you, but he keeps his book of secrecy, which your eyes can read very well. His heart teeming with air hurts him, the emptiness as much as the withering, the loss and the silence. You take solace in knowing that he will survive, just like he once did, and that rain will follow and drought. He will recreate you in his barren land then, as the seasons grow tender with rain. He will cross all the nights of loss, dark as they may be. A last one is, I'm a woman from Oman. I'm a woman from Oman, molded from frankincense, heavenly bliss, and a moringa buff. I'm a northerner, yet my voice exalts the southern dhofar in song. If I stretch my wings across the 18 plains, my quills brush against the Hubub mountains. I'm a cedar tree from Oman, and the faces of all her women in mine rest. If they are to dig 1,000 wells, my blood would still swear by Oman. I would never choose a land other than her sacred soil. Only she unites all in heartfelt prayer and resonates to my inmost soul. Thank you.
Sorry, we're having last minute surprises for you all. As Aisha, she came here and she told you guys some beautiful poems in English. Also, our beautiful novelist, Bushra, is going to say some narrative in English.
We all know it's quite difficult to read prose after poetry, but help us God. Whenever she looked in the mirror, she traced with her fingers the movement of his fingers on her cheeks as they stood at the pomegranate tree. She saw the gleam in his eyes and the longing that shone in them, a desire he did not try to hide. She saw his fingers stroking her chin, raising it a little. She saw what he was about to do, and she trembled. She closed her eyes as though hiding that moment from the image that reflected back to her in the mirror. She hid it as though she were keeping it away from anything that might happen, except in her memory or in his presence when he returned. She ran delicate white fingers through her hair to loosen it. She combed her hair, scented with perfumes. She combed it and sang to it, as though when she sang, it grew longer and her waiting grew shorter. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the extraordinary Omani novelist Bushra Al-Wahabi. And I am enjoying these last minute editions because a little spontaneous is good, right? All right. Now it's time for the book signing segment. 2 copies will be signed of each book, and one will be dedicated to the Omani Embassy in Washington, D.C., and the other to Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center in Washington. And on behalf of these institutions, we invite His Excellency Musa At-Tai, the Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman to the United States, and Kathleen Ridolfo, the Executive Director of SQCC, to please come here and receive the copies. Now we're going to call one by one the people who are going to sign the copies. First of all, Al-Mukarram Hatim At-Tai. Kathleen Rodolfo. Now, how about some beautiful music by our beautiful violinist Tahra Jamal while they do the book signing? Is that a good idea? All right, cool.
تشتغلي شوي وأقل شوي ولا لا؟ أيوة سوي أعلى شوي صوت أعلى.
بشرى خلفان الوهيبي. a real doctor, by the way. Flew us to the moon today. And next, the writer Faiza Al-Kalbani. And next, the writer Madreen Al Maktoumi. عاش عاش. And the writer Badr Al-Qumi. And next, the Greek puppet master, Sandra Beasley. Next, we have the writer Talib Al-Ghabbari. We're waiting for her to finish her musical masterpiece, Professor Anne Rasmussen. عبيد الشخصي. To the dinner buffet upstairs, last but definitely not least, Dr. Muhammad Mubarak Al-Aremi, the head of the board of directors of the Omani Journalist Association. His Excellency Musa Attai, the Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman and the United States of America, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, thank you all for being such a wonderful audience tonight. This brings us to the closing of the end of the closing of the Omani American Press Forum.